Hello, everyone. Today we're going to cover the 5 themes of geography. So we're going to start this off with a little warm-up here. If you have missed today's lesson, I'm posting this here so you can go over it. So we're going to start off with the 5 themes of geography. Here's a little warm-up for today. So looking at this screen here, we are looking into 2 large cities. So when I look at this map, I first look at the key and I see these big circles. The bigger the circle, the more the people. So boom, there are a bunch of tons of things in San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, one of my favorite cities, Seattle, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, DC, Detroit, Chicago. This dot here where my mouse is, that's Charlotte. So that's where we are here. So it's pretty interesting here. So you're looking at a lot of these things. So why do we think that people move here? Well, people move to the city for a lot of different reasons. It could be for housing, jobs, higher paying jobs, and more people live there. So there's more opportunities. If you're looking at where these cities are, a lot of them are on the coast, right? And if we look over here on the East Coast, we have New York, Philadelphia, Washington, DC, Boston. These cities were, well, the exception is Washington, DC, but Boston, New York, Philadelphia, these cities were around before America was a country. So when we were colonies, these cities were around. And why they were set up here on the coast and why they became so successful is because they are port cities. They would ship and trade goods to these areas, and they would come from England and from France and Germany, and they would trade with America in that way. And so they are still port cities. On this side, when we reach this side of the country, these became port cities because they are from China. Okay, we trade with Asia and Japan, but China is our biggest trader when we come from this side. Now we're going to be taking some notes today. So in your notes section of your notebook, make sure you're following along. If you need to pause this video, if I'm going too quick, that's fine. All I want you to write down and all you have to write down are the parts in red. If you want to write the other parts down, that's totally fine, but you don't need to write those things. So why does learning about the 5 themes of geography, why does that even matter? Well, when we want to learn about a certain country, city, region, etc., we use the 5 themes of geography. The themes will tell us where it is located, what it looks like, and why it looks the way it does, and why people want to live there. What is geography? Geography is the study of the earth and its features. Geo means earth, ography means study of. What are the 5 themes of geography? The 5 themes of geography are tools geographers use to study the earth's surface and features. Location, place, regions, movement, human environment, interaction. So make sure that you are writing what is in red here. Location is where something is, and that could be absolute or relative. The exact location of a place or area, an example is the absolute location of Raleigh is 35 degrees and 46 north, 78 degrees, 38 west. So that is always going to be that location. The world is kind of set up in this grid, and it will always be there. Relative is a point or place in relation to another point or place. So Charlotte is located west of Raleigh and east of Asheville. Relative location, unlike absolute, can change. So relative, if you say, hey, my house is five houses away from the Chick-fil-A, that works fine. But what if the Chick-fil-A closes and they open up a McDonald's there? Then it would change and you would say my house is 5 houses away from the McDonald's. So absolute will never change because your house will always have that same address. Even if they build something new on there, it'll be the same address and it'll be the same place on the earth, but relative could change on what is located on that spot. So place, it's how an area is described. This region features many high mountain chains that are located near the Pacific coast. If you're describing a place, people will kind of hear about it and know. So like I can do this. I'm thinking of a city. It is in California. A bunch of celebrities live there. Movies are made there, and it has a huge sign of what the city's called at the city. If you are listening to that and want to take a guess, go ahead right now. And if you said Hollywood, you are right. So that's kind of how you can describe a place. And place is how we describe it. Region. Now this one is a tough one. Regions are shared characteristics or features. There's formal, functional, and vernacular. Formal has its limits on a map. So if you look at the map, you'll see that North Carolina clearly has lines on here, and that's it. Charlotte, when you look at the map, has city lines. Functional extends beyond the actual limits on a map. It's like this. Cornelius is a part of Charlotte. If Kennedy is in Steel Creek, and maybe a lot of us live in the Steel Creek area. So if you were to go to, let's say, I don't know, let's say you go to New York, and somebody says, hey, where are you from? You probably aren't going to say, I'm from Steel Creek, North Carolina. You probably say, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, because then people are going to know about it a little better. That's what I do. I actually live with this because I'm from Michigan, and I'm from a suburb of Detroit here. It's called Grosse Pointe Woods. Probably you've never heard of it. Grosse Pointe Woods, I doubt you'd ever heard of it. But then if I say I live 10 miles out of Detroit, and I just say I'm from Detroit, you probably heard of that. You know, Detroit, it's a pretty old city, big city. It also houses one of the greatest football teams of all time, the Lions. Let's go Lions. And then you have vernacular. It's a general area that people speak about that does not have set limits. You could say, you know, if you ever listen to the Journey song and they say city boy from south of Detroit, well, if you were to go to Detroit, there is no south of Detroit. We call it the East and West Detroit. So even there, Journey, they've come up with a vernacular area that people speak about that could or could not exist depending on who you're talking to. Movement. Movement is the way people, products, information, and ideas move from one place to another. So right now, movement is actually occurring. The way of information and ideas move from one place is occurring right now with me moving information to you guys. Now, when people move, there's two types of way. Migration, that's the movement of people from one place to another within the same region, county, area. It can be forced or voluntary. So if you're moving from Atlanta to Charlotte, that's migration. You're in the same country. Let's say you're moving from South Charlotte to South Charlotte. Well, let's talk about how that could be forced or voluntary. Maybe your family is having a new sibling, a new baby's being born, and you need to move to a bigger apartment or a bigger house. That's voluntary. Maybe the apartment structure you're living in right now or the house you're living in, the land has been bought by a big development, and they're going to knock it down to build a Harris Teeter. That actually happened to my wife's uncle and aunt last year. They lived in the place for 10 years, and then the apartment building sold, and the owner said everybody's got to be out in 3 months. Immigration. This is the action of coming to live permanently in a foreign country. So if you're moving from Greece to America, that's immigration. If you're moving from America to India, that's immigration. It can be forced or voluntary. So maybe you're moving voluntarily because you just got a new job. Maybe you're being forced out because there's war happening in your country and you want to go somewhere safe. And then we have human-environment interaction. It's the relationship between people and their environment, how people adapt to the environment, and how they change it. In ancient times, the annual flooding of the Nile River produced good soil for growing crops. So they use that good soil. A great way to think about human-environment interaction is people using different clothing as they go from the environment. Okay, you're not going to wear the same thing that you wear to a beach in Florida to a middle of the winter game in Philadelphia. Okay, so you're not going to do that because you're adapting to your environment. Also, a great way to think about this is if humans did not exist, would it be there? If the answer is yes, that's human-environment interaction. So that road that you drive on, that fence that you have, that power line, that stoplight, all built by humans. So this is human-environment interaction. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you here is it's a video from YouTube. What I would like you to do is just right here, 5 themes of geography in Fortnite. Look this up. It's on Mr. Sin, okay, right here, Mr. Sin. And it's a really fun video that you can look into if you need a little bit of a follow-up for what we are working on here today. So thank you for stopping by. Hopefully we can see you when we do our live lessons the next time. But if you need this, if you need to go back to it, I'm happy to do this. Have a great day.